Hi, welcome back to Dog Ears and Tall Tales. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Margot, back behind the camera.
And today we are going to go through, it's mostly my fall TBR. I think Margot and I have a few common books that we both want to read this fall. I'm just going to go through and maybe give you guys some ideas of what you can put on your fall TBR.
Yeah. And I'm much more of a mood reader, so mine will probably be chaotic and messy, and maybe I'll do a rundown of everything I read in the fall. And we can sort it into, maybe we can find like the most absurd book to read in fall.
All right, so I'm going to start with some of the cozy fantasies that I want to read. I have already read all 3 books in the Legends and Lattes trilogy, the 2 and then the prequel. But those are great cozy fantasies if you haven't read them yet. The first one I have is Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. I've heard cute things about this one. A woman who runs a cat rescue in 1920s Montreal turns to a grouchy but charming magician to help save her shelter in this heartwarming, cozy fantasy. Agnes Aubert leads a meticulously organized life, and she likes it that way. As the proudly Type A manager of a cat rescue charity, she has devoted her life to finding forever homes for stray cats. Now it's the shelter that needs a new home, and the only landlord who will rent a space to a cat rescue is a mysterious man called Havelock, who also happens to be the world's most infamous magician, running an illegal magic shop out of his basement. Havelock is a cantankerous and eccentric, but not handsome. And no, Agnes absolutely does not feel anything but disdain for him. After all, rumors swirl about his shadowy past, including whispers that his dark magic once almost brought about the apocalypse.
Interesting.
So that does sound very good. A little dark for a cozy fantasy, but...
Yeah. Well, and if those don't end up being... If that's not cozy enough... Well, actually, they're also a little bit dark. I love Heather Fawcett's Emily Wilde series.
Oh, those are good, too.
So I own the first one, so it's around here somewhere. But I read those this spring.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next one is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. MacLean. Cute cover. From one of the most exciting new voices in fantasy comes a warm hug of a novel featuring a magical zoo teeming with mythical beasts and a soul-restoring queer romance at its heart. As head Phoenix Keeper at a world-renowned zoo for magical creatures, Ayla's childhood dream of conserving critically endangered firebirds is closer than ever. But when a tragic heist sabotages a neighboring zoo, Ayla must prove she's capable of leading a new conservation program despite the looming threat. So
this one's definitely on my fall TBR too. I got this at the Ripped Bodice in New York City, actually right after I stopped working at a zoo, in which I actually wrote a D&D campaign that was about a fantasy zoo. So it's incredibly up my alley. I've had it for years, have not read it. So I think this will maybe finally get me to read it. Maybe I'll read it right after you and we can discuss.
We can talk about it. And then another one I have on my list is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandanna.
And I own that book, but I have no idea where it is. That's a fun fact. It might be at my parents' house in Minnesota because it's not in any of my stuff here. It's a book I own and I desperately want to read. I bought it in Seattle last year. I have no idea where it is.
It's a whimsical and heartwarming novel about a witch who has a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track. Sarah Swan used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great-aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her guild. Now she, slightly reluctantly and just a bit grumpily, helps Jasmine run an enchanted inn in Lancashire where she deals with her quirky guest shenanigans, tries to keep said talking fox in check, and longs for the future that seems lost to her. But then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. That does sound fun.
Yeah.
And then for just general fantasy, Jade City by Fonda Leigh. For centuries, honorable Greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kikon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kikon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break.
Honestly, one of my absolute favorite trilogies of all time. And also, I would say the rare series where the second book outdoes the first. I don't even know which one is my favorite of the three, but I read the second book and I went, oh, no sophomore slump here. They are just so phenomenal. I own 2 other books by Fonda Leigh that I just need to dive into. And I'm so excited. And I'm really excited for you to read them because honestly, I need somebody to talk to about them. And I read them more than a year ago.
Okay. I am excited about them. I did just read 5 Broken Blades and 4 Ruined Realms. And I have to say the same thing. The second book does not suffer from second book syndrome.
Good. Well, I've had 5 Broken Blades for years, so I got to get into it.
Yes, you have to read it. The next one is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. In her forest-veiled pagan village, Evika is the only woman without power, making her an outcast, clearly abandoned by the gods. The villagers blame her corrupted bloodline. Her father was a Yehuli man, one of the much-loathed servants of the fanatical king. When soldiers arrive from the Holy Order of Woodsman to claim a pagan girl for the king's blood sacrifice, Evika is betrayed by her fellow villagers and surrendered. But when monsters attack the Woodsman and their captive en route, slaughtering everyone but Evika and the cold, one-eyed captain, the two have no choice but to rely on each other. Except the captain is no ordinary woodsman. He is the disgraced prince, Barony Gaspar, whose father needs pagan magic to consolidate his power. Gaspar fears that his cruelly zealous brother plans to seize the throne and instigate a violent reign that would damn the pagans and the Yehuli alike. As the son of a reviled foreign queen, Gaspar understands what it's like to be an outcast, and he and Evika make the tenuous pact to stop his brother. This sounds
interesting. Yeah,
very intense.
I haven't read any Ava Reid, but I've heard they're all great. So,
yeah. All right, and then we have the whole Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Hoping to read all of these this fall. Soldier, Summoner, Saint. Orphaned and expendable. Alina Starkov is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across the Shadow Fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. But when her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Now Alina will enter a lavish world of royalty and intrigue as she trains with the Grisha, her country's magical military elite, and falls under the spell of their notorious leader, the Darkling. He believes Alina can summon a force capable of destroying the Shadowfold and reuniting their war-ravaged country, but only if she can master her untamed gift. As the threat to the kingdom mounts and Alina unlocks the secrets of her past, she will make a dangerous discovery that could threaten all she loves and the very future of a nation.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the whole trilogy and the whole Grisha-verse.
I didn't even know what the Grisha was until you read the back of that. I knew it was called the Grisha-verse, but I was like,
no, same.
Something I didn't know. And then I went, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try to buddy read those at the same time as Kelly this fall so that I will also actually finally get to reading them.
All right. The next is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again. But 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction, and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe door, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle, for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Divine Rivals is an epic enemies-to-lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak, and the unparalleled power of love.
They're so good. Honestly, every Rebecca Ross book that I've read, which actually I think I'm only missing Wild Reverence, which is about the gods in Divine Rivals, and the second one. But everything else, A River Enchanted was one of my favorite books that I read several years ago, and I just adore her writing style. So I'm very excited for you to get into these. They're very fun. The magic system is like incredibly cool.
All right. I love like a cool magic system. The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. Never pray to the gods that answer after dark. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live. And she is determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world, even if she will be doomed to be alone forever. Or not quite alone, as every year on her birthday, the alluring Luke comes to visit, checking to see if she is ready to give up her soul. Their darkly thrilling game stretches through the ages, seeing Addie witness history and fight to regain herself as she crosses oceans and tries on various lives. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name. And suddenly, everything changes again. It sounds so good.
It is. And all the hype is accurate. And it was really big, I feel like in 2020, and I think I read it in 2020, and it just is. I don't think I know anyone who doesn't like this book. Like, I know there are people on the internet, but like of people I know personally who have read it, I think everyone has adored it. And that's from like, you know, my college best friend who's a data engineer to like my mom to like acquaintances who maybe I've posted about this book and they've been like, oh my God, it's so great. So it just, I mean, I love V.E. Schwab, but I love this book so much. Honestly, I'm like maybe due for a reread.
Another fantasy that I would like to read this fall is Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. It's a fiction fantasy romance, YA. There will be plenty of time for me to beat him soundly once I've gotten what I came for. Sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old pirate captain Alosa deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match.
Not right now, guys. What, Casper?
But not to worry, for Alosa has a few tricks up her sleeve, and no lone pirate can stop the Daughter of the Pirate King. In Daughter of the Pirate King, debut author Tricia Levenseller blends action, adventure, romance, and a little bit of magic into a thrilling YA pirate tale.
I've heard great things about this one. Another one that's like on my 1,000-book-long TBR.
Yeah, I see it on your story graph. So the next fall category I have is Dark Academia. And the first one I have is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I've heard really good things, although I have been putting it off because I know, is it going to be a trilogy or a duology? I know there's
one of the two.
So I was kind of waiting until the other one came out so I wouldn't have to wait, but I don't know if I want to keep waiting.
Oh, that's so fair. I am somebody who I've discovered in my adulthood. As a kid, I was like, let's consume all of them at once. I tend to like read in between books in a series. So, you know, honestly, it's kind of a pro for me, unless it's so long that I forget.
Yeah.
Let me look up when it's a trilogy. It'll be a trilogy.
Okay.
Oh, book 2's coming out October of next year. I think maybe jump on this one, or it'll be another year until you read it.
That's true. The Raven Scholar is a masterfully woven tale of imperial intrigue from an electrifying new voice in epic fantasy. Let us fly now to the Empire of Orin, where after 24 years of peace, the reign of Burson the Brusque has come to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 exceptional warriors, thinkers, and strategists compete to replace him. When one of them is murdered, it falls to Nima Kra, the Emperor's brilliant, idiosyncratic high scholar, to find the killer and fight for the throne. Nima believes she is alone, but we are here to help. All she has to do is let us in. If she succeeds, we will win an empire. If she fails, death awaits her. But we won't let that happen. We are the Raven, and we are magnificent. That sounds really good.
It does sound really, really good.
Have you read it yet?
I haven't.
Oh, it's only 650 pages. Like around the same as Elantris.
Yeah.
But it looks so much bigger.
It looks so much bigger. I mean, you can do a side-by-side. The beauty of a mass market paperback. That's why I'm trying to own almost all of my Brandon Sanderson mass market paperback, because the full-size books are just huge.
They are so big. It's so hard to read the mass market paperbacks, especially when they're that big, without cracking the spine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is fair. I mean, I don't mind a cracked spine. I feel like it looks loved. I'm reading Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell right now, which is over 1,000 pages, and I've been working on since May, because it just is like, you have to think about it, and she writes in kind of an older language set. Mm-hmm. But the spine is very cracked on that one. And it is my younger siblings' copy, but they can deal with that.
Okay, another dark academia book that I want to read is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. Lesson 1 of the Scholomance. Learning has never been this deadly. A deadly education is set at Scholomance, a school for the magically gifted where failure means certain death, until one girl, Elle, begins to unlock its many secrets. There are no teachers, no holidays, and no friendships, save strategic ones. Survival is more important than any letter grade, for the school won't allow its students to leave until they graduate or die. The rules are deceptively simple. Don't walk the halls alone, and beware of the monsters who lurk everywhere. Elle is uniquely prepared for the school's dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out millions. It would be easy enough for Elle to defeat the monsters that prowl the school. The problem? Her powerful dark magic might also kill all the other students.
Woof. I'm glad that I never went to a school like that.
Right? Okay. And then some thriller horror books that I want to read. You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews. The walls are closing in on her perfect new life. Single mother Elodie's life has become a fairy tale. She's met Bren, equal parts golden retriever devoted and sinfully handsome. He's whisked her and her autistic son Jude to the crumbling family house he's renovating. She has a new husband, a new house, and a new baby on the way. Everything is perfect, until Jude claims he can hear voices in the walls. He says their renovations are hurting the house. Even Elodie can't ignore it. Something strange is going on. The question is it with the house or with her son? And what is Elodie hiding?
I've heard great things about C.G. Drew's books. Don't Let the Forest In is pretty high on my fall TBR, I say, even though I said I didn't really have one. Again, very spooky. I don't read a lot of horror, so I think it'll be a fun little dip in for me, and then we can compare the two books by the same author.
Another book I want to read, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. There's power in a book. They call them wayward girls, loose girls who grew up too fast, and they're sent to the Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home in the sweltering summer of 1970, pregnant, terrified, and alone. Under the watchful eye of the stern Miss Wellwood, she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. There's Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to find a way to keep her baby and escape to a commune, and Zinnia, a budding musician who plans to marry her baby's father, and Holly, a wisp of a girl, barely 14, mute and pregnant by no one knows who. Everything the girls eat, every moment of their waking day, and everything they're allowed to talk about is strictly controlled by adults who claim they know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and power is in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually paid in blood.
Whew. I've heard, phenomenal things about that book, and the way that it talks about, really how we treat women and their unplanned, unwanted babies. I worked on, a nonfiction book several years ago when I was in publishing called Relinquished, which is about mothers who relinquished their children. And I think we talked some about this book in connection with that. And that one is nonfiction, right? Like kind of case studies about these different women. Amazing book, nominated for a National Book Critics Circle Awards. I got to go to those awards. It was very fun. But just a really phenomenal read that I think would be a good nonfiction in connection with this, to not even necessarily for you, but I think both a like fiction and a nonfiction view on a lot of things that are very similar. So.
You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. Alien meets Midsummer in this chilling debut adult novel from award-winning author Andrew Joseph White about identity, survival, and transformation amidst an alien invasion in rural West Virginia. Festering masses of worms and flies have taken root in dark corners across Appalachia. In exchange for unwavering loyalty and fresh corpses, these hives offer a few struggling humans salvation, a fresh start. It's an offer that none refuse. Crane is grateful. Among his hive's followers, Crane has found a chance to transition, to never speak again, to live a life that won't destroy him. He even met Levi, a handsome ex-Marine and brutal killer who treats him like a real man, mostly. But when Levi gets Crane pregnant and the hive demands the child's birth, no matter the cost, Crane's desperation to make it stop will drive the community that saved him into a devastating spiral that can only end in blood. You Weren't Meant to Be Human is a deeply personal horror, a visceral statement about the lives of marginalized people in a hostile world, echoing the works of Stephen Graham Jones and Eric LaRocca. That sounds like super intense.
Yeah.
And then Spooky Vibes, the trilogy by Erin Sterling with the Ex Hex, the Kiss Curse, and the Wedding Witch. The Ex Hex. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Reese Penhollow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and annoyingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glen, Georgia, which should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival, turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Reese, Vivi realizes her silly little ex-hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Reese have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late.
I've read the first two. I have not read The Wedding Witch, but the first two were very cute and fun and good spooky seasonal vibes.
And then the next kind of spooky vibe book, The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. I did read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner earlier this summer, and it was a cute book. 1873, at an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by acclaimed spiritualist Vaudeline d'Aulaire, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them, she is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Lena Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so, she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Lena accompanies her as an understudy. But as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive seance society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps entangle themselves in one.
Ooh.
And then I have one cozy sci-fi, which I've never read a cozy sci-fi, but I think it'll be cute. It's The Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe by C.B. Leigh. When Brenda's internet goes out right before an important scholarship deadline, she stumbles into Kat's family's coffee shop. Brenda is swept away by cool, confident Kat, who actually cares about Brenda's 19-step plan to save the world through science. Meanwhile, Kat can't stop thinking about Brenda, who is smart, passionate, and doesn't seem to care that Kat is the prophesized chosen one. The only problem? Kat and Brenda are from different universes. Like need to find a portal to go on a second date different universes. As their realities collide and things spiral out of control, can a girl determined to save the world find love with a girl determined to outrun her destiny?
This one also very much on my TBR. I saw it so many times. I went to like 15 airports last year, and there was one point in the summer where I kept seeing it, and then I eventually bought it off of Pango. But I also need to get around to this one. So
I don't know if I will get to all of these books this fall, but those are some of the books that I would like to read. I guess September, October, November timeframe, ideally. But we'll see how far we get. Right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and leave any other of your fall TBRs or fall vibe recommendations in the comments below. We'll see you in the next video.